Hi everyone, welcome to this podcast. Today, teachers from PENTA English Academy are going to talk about an interesting topic. My name is Valentina.
My name is Heidi.
My name is Alejandra.
My name is Adriana.
My name is Derek.
Hi everyone, my name is Stefano and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Have you ever asked yourself this question? Is every student really included in the English classroom? I mean, not only physically in the room, but truly included in learning.
Yes, because sometimes we say all students are welcome, but that is not enough. If a learner cannot follow the class, express ideas, or show progress in a fair way, then inclusion is incomplete.
And another big question is, are the teachers really prepared to respond to different needs? Because in theory, inclusion sounds beautiful, but in practice, it can be difficult.
Especially in English teaching, where students need to listen, speak, read, write, interact, and also feel confident. Not all learners do that in the same way.
So, today we want to talk about inclusive English language teaching and what it means to create real learning opportunities for all.
We are going to discuss this as a debate. We may disagree in some moments, but our goal is to understand how inclusion works in real EFL classrooms.
And as future English teachers, this topic matters a lot to us because we want to offer teaching that is not only effective, but also fair, human, and flexible. So, let's start with the basic idea. What does inclusion mean in English language teaching?
For me, inclusion means that students do not need to fit one fixed way of learning. Instead, the class adapts to learner diversity.
Yes, and that connects with curriculum design. An inclusive curriculum is not rigid. It gives opinions, different paths, and clear support.
Exactly. That is close to Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. The idea is simple. For the beginning, teachers plan lessons, different ways to present content, different ways to students to participate, and different ways to show learning. Recent studies on inclusive assessment on UDL based on practically stress the importance of choice, flexibility, and multiple forms of participation.
Right, but sometimes people think inclusion only means students with disabilities. I think it is greater than that.
I agree. It also includes learners with different language levels, different cultural backgrounds, anxiety, different rhythms, and different cognitive profiles.
So, for example, in a pre-intermediate A2.2 class, one student may feel comfortable doing a short role play, but another student may need vocabulary support, a model sentence, or more time.
Or one learner may understand better with visual and examples, while another may need repetition and step-by-step instruction.
And that is where EFL methodologies and didactics become important. Student-centered teaching, scaffolding, pair work, visual support, and make differentiated tasks can make a big difference.
Also, from psycholinguistics, we know that language acquisition is not exactly the same for everyone. Students process input differently, store language differently, and read differently. To pleasure the overload recent viewers to neurodevelopment disorders and French language learning also show that the learners with autism, ADHD, or intellectual disability may need adaptive support and, structured intervention.
So, inclusion in EFL is not about making the class easier. It is about making learning more accessible.
Yes, accessible and meaningful.
Now, let's move to the difficult part. If inclusion is so important, why is it still challenging?
I'll be honest, one challenge is time. Teachers often have many students, limited resources, and pressure to finish the syllabus.
True, but I don't think time should become an excuse. Inclusive teaching is not always about creating six different lessons.
I know, but still planning for diversity takes work.
I see your point, Heidi, but maybe the problem is not only time. Maybe it is also how we understand planning. If curriculum design is flexible from the start, teachers do not need a repair exclusion later.
An assessment is other tension. Many classrooms still depend too much on the format, like one grading exam for everybody, but inclusive assessment literatures argues that fairness does not always mean sameness. Sometimes it means allowing different but equivalent ways to demonstrate learning.
Yes, for example, if the objective is to check oral communication, maybe a student can respond in a short recorded audio instead of a stressful live performance.
Wait, but then some people may say that is not equal.
Not equal in format, maybe, but fair in opportunity.
That is a very important distinction.
And there is also the technology debate. Some teachers say digital tools support inclusion. Others say technologies create new barriers.
Honestly, both are true. Technology can help with subtitles, screen readers, interactive practice, voice tools, visual dictionaries, and even AI support.
But if the internet fails, if the tool is not accessible, or if the student doesn't know how to use it, then technology can exclude too.
And with AI, there is another question. Does it support learning or does it make the students too dependent?
Recent reviews on ChatGPT and language education show both sides. AI can support feedback, idea generation, language practice, and an autonomy, but it also brings concerns about quality, overreliance, and teacher judgment.
So, we are not saying technology is the solution. We're saying technology must be used critically.
Exactly. Inclusive teaching is not about using many tools. It is about using the right support for the learner in front of you.
Let's talk solutions. If we want more inclusive English classes, what can teachers really do?
First, adapt tasks without changing the learning goal. For example, in an 8.2.2 lesson on daily routines, students can all work on the same topic, but they can respond in different ways: a short dialogue, a picture-based description, or a guided audio.
Yeah, and in assessment, teachers can offer alternatives: oral response, graded response, peer tags, portfolio, mini project or visual presentation, research or inclusive assessment, and formative assessment supports, using flexible evidence of learning and feedback during the process, not only at the end.
I like that, but how do we keep academic quality?
By keeping the same objective and the same criteria, the path can change, but the standard remains clear.
That is where rubrics help. Also, clear instruction, example, visual organizer, and model task.
And small things matter too. A slower speech when needed, pre-teaching vocabulary, extra processing time, and checking emotional comfort.
From psycholinguistics, this makes sense because attention, memory, and processing load affect language learning. If we reduce unnecessary pressure, students can focus better on meaning and communication.
What about technologies for teaching and learning?
They can be powerful if used well. Captioned videos, text-to-speech, interactive quizzes, collaborative boards, pronunciation apps, and AI chatbots for low-pressure practice.
Yes, especially for shy students. Sometimes they practice more with a chatbot first, and then they feel safer speaking with classmates.
And as future teacher, that is also part of what we can offer professionally. Personalized support, inclusive lesson design, fair assessment, and smart use of technology for different learners.
Exactly. Not just teaching English, but teaching English in ways that respect diversity.
That's also good. Communication with family and schools inclusion the strangers when teachers collaborate.
So, after all this discussion, what are we really saying?
That inclusion is not only access, it is participation, support, and real opportunity to learn.
That curriculum design must be flexible, not rigid.
That assessment can be fair and fairness sometimes mean offering different ways to show learning.
That technology can support inclusion but only if it is accessible and given.
And that in EFL, especially at levels like A2.2, small adaptations can make a huge difference in confidence and progress.
So, maybe inclusive English teaching is not about having one perfect method, right?
No, it is about being reflective, responsive, and open.
It is about teaching the learners we really have.
Not the ideal learners we imagine.
And as future professionals, that is the kind of teaching we want to build.
English for all, with dignity, access, and real learning.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.